Hello, I'm Chloe from eCreators by OpenLMS, and welcome to the webinar. Thank you so much for joining us today live. We're introducing the new and improved Learnbook 3.9, and we'll be talking all about the new flashy features and sharing them on screen. Before we get started, I'm just going to quickly go through some house rules. As you can see, we are using YouTube today, and the session is live. Commenting is on the right-hand side, and please feel free to ask questions. We have our team looking after the chat. The speakers will try and answer questions throughout, otherwise we'll revisit them all at the end. Now we have Danny, our customer experience specialist at eCreators by OpenLMS. We have Dean, our VP of product at OpenLMS and founder of eCreators and Learnbook. And we have Trevor, our product owner of Learnbook at eCreators by OpenLMS. Now, we'd just like to share something exciting. We are giving away 5 content tickets today, valued at $65 for the upcoming online event PauseFest, running from the 1st to the 12th of March. If you don't know what PauseFest is, it's the world's leading festival for business and creativity. They are an industry-driven movement with a mission to bring diverse intelligence together to fuel the next generation forward. You will get to hear from some big names, including Google, Netflix, Canva, Twitch, TikTok, Atlassian, Hyperloop, and NASA. The content tickets allow you to binge all the festival content at your leisure, and those have sold out. So we're giving you a chance to get your hands on one. To enter, simply leave us a comment in the live chat about what you think of Learnbook 3.9 or how you're finding Learnbook 3.9 if you have it, and leave your first name and company name so we can reach out to the winners from our registration list after the webinar to give you the ticket. We'll announce the 5 winners throughout the webinar. So yeah, keep an ear out for that. We have Dean, who will now start us off with the new core features. Please take it away, Dean. Sorry, Dean, I think you're muted.
There we go. And there's the first rule of running a webinar. Watch that mute button. Thanks, everybody, for coming along today. We've got a few bits and pieces to get through with some of the new features and functionality that we've brought into this latest release of Learnbook. We've taken a lot of the new things that have been available in the latest Moodle release and embedded them into our product, which is great. It's great to see us making the best use of those open source tools into our core product, and all of our customers can benefit from them. Later in the presentation, I'm also going to be showing you some of the things that we've been working on the roadmap, which is really exciting. So we currently have 3 product teams working on a lot of these new features, and a number of new roles open right across the world too, to really make sure that we develop them at a really consistent pace, and also make sure that they're well tested, the products that actually come to market for you. So really excited about the new things happening across the OpenLMS group, both in a development standpoint and certainly in a support standpoint as well too. So as we sort of globalize our support structure across the world, putting more places or more people into the right places, support that development of our product and the usage of our product moving forward as well too. So I'll pop back and speak to you a little bit later throughout this prezzo, but in the first instance, I think I'll hand back to Danny, who's going to take Danny, I think over there, that way, point up. About some of the new features that we have coming to us in this latest release. So Danny, if you want to take us through a bit of a demo, I'll pop back and see you guys soon.
Great, thanks, Dean. hopefully you can all see my screen so that I can walk you through some of the new features that have been included from the Moodle 3.9 release. The first one is the repositioning of the Turn Editing On button. So a lot of you may remember that the Turn Editing On button was inside the course administration menu. This has now been moved to a more obvious location, so you don't have to go looking for it anymore. You can just click on the Turn Editing On button and that will turn on editing, so you can start creating your courses or editing your courses. So if I click on my Turn Editing On button, I can then show you the next feature, which is the overhaul of the activity chooser. So now that I have my editing on, anywhere on the course page, if you click on the Add an Activity or Resource button, you'll see that it has had a little bit of a facelift. It now appears to you in tile view instead of being a long scrolling list of activities and resources. There are a number of different tabs that you can search now, or you can use the search bar to search for the activities. With the all, that'll show you all the activities that are available. And then we have the activities and resources on their own. Two new features that have been added is starred. So on the activity, I'm going to call it a tile, you'll see this little star button. So if there are any activities that you really like using, you can just click on the little star and that will move them into your starred tab. So the ones that you use most often, you can have them in a little favorites list. The other one that's been added is the recommended tab. So this allows a site administrator or a manager or anyone that can get to the courses section of the site administration to be able to recommend activities. So here you'll see that I've gone and recommended the assignment and the quiz, and it's easy to find those recommended activities in the recommended section. We then have the ability for users to be able to bulk delete out of the private files. So if I click, so if you've got the private files block active, if you click on Manage Private Files, this will allow you to do a bulk delete of private files. So you can click on the files that you want to delete and then delete them. The next new feature is probably one of the most requested, or at least one of the questions I get asked most often, which is how do you copy a course? Previously, we were copying courses by doing the backup and restore process. Moodle's now gone ahead and put in this copy course feature. So all we need to do is click on the copy course and that'll start the course copy function. So I can go in and add my new full name, short name, and then copy that course so I can create a new version of it. It just makes it a little bit easier than having to go through that full backup and restore process. So I'll quickly cancel out of that one. We then have the improved filtering of the enrolled users list. We can now go ahead and use this improved filtering to search for enrolled users based on a number of different statuses. So I can look for keywords, I can choose from inactive, if I'm wanting to look for users who have been inactive within the course. I can search for users based on enrollment methods. So it just allows me a lot of option when I want to go and search for different users. So I can click on one of these options, for example, inactive for more than, and then I can say, I want to look for someone in the course that's been inactive for X amount of time. So if I apply my filters, that is then going to give me a list of users that haven't been active within the course for at least a week. Cool. We then have H5P and the content bank. So H5P was integrated into Moodle in 3.9, but it's actually been integrated into Learnbook since version 3.4. It was a core plugin that we added. So the only thing that's new for our Learnbook customers when it comes to H5P is the ability to now use the content bank. So what the content bank does is it allows you to add, edit, upload H5P content, and then grab that H5P content from the content bank and use it within the courses where you're wanting to use that. So you'll see here that I've added a few videos that I've created, a few interactive videos that I've created into my content bank. So I can click on one of those and view that and edit it. I'll quickly close that. And then if I click on the little add button, that is going to allow me to add a number of the different H5P activities that I want to add into my content bank so I can use them elsewhere. The other great thing is if you have a H5P content that you've created elsewhere, you can actually download that content from wherever you've created it and use the little upload button to go and upload that content into your Moodle platform, into the content bank, so that you can use it within your Moodle platform and within the courses. Cool. And the last feature that I'm going to show is the Safe Exam Browser. So the Safe Exam Browser is a way of limiting what a user is able to do when they're inside a quiz. It's actually, the Safe Exam Browser is actually a browser that you have to download, or the student has to download onto their computer. And when you're inside the Safe Exam Browser, it won't allow you to access other areas of your computer. So I'm just going to go back to my course. There we go, there's my quiz activity. So when you're creating your quiz activities, there's an area for configuring the Safe Exam Browser, and a teacher or a course creator is able to then choose whether or not they want to use the Safe Exam Browser. So in this case, I've chosen yes, and to configure it manually, I would then set up the rest of the fields that I need to set up. And once I've done that, that will mean that students have to use the Safe Exam Browser. So if I click back over to my other tab, if I'm interacting as a student, the student will then have to download the Safe Exam Browser if they haven't already. Click on the download configuration button, and that will download the file that allows them to use the Safe Exam Browser. So once I click on open of that file, it will start to open my Safe Exam Browser. And I will be able to log in to the LMS. You'll notice that when you're in the Safe Exam Browser, it won't allow you to get out of that Safe Exam Browser or do anything unless you actually leave. So if I click on the stop button, I have to quit to go back to the main part of my computer to be able to do anything else that I was wanting to do when I'm not in that quiz. So it's a way of being able to proctor exams without having to have a proctoring service. So that pretty much covers all of the new features that have been included in Learnbook from the Moodle 3.9 release. And I'll hand back over to Chloe to talk a little bit more about PauseFest.
Hey Dave, thank you so much for showing us all of those. It's really exciting, and I reckon everyone will be really looking forward to implementing those new features in their e-learning. So we have two winners to announce. We have Ricochet and Mel Walker. Congratulations, you have won the first 2 tickets to PauseFest. We have 3 tickets left, so please jump in the chat and have some more conversations. So I'll just jump back out now. We have, before I do that, we have Trevor talking about how you can upgrade.
Thanks, Chloe. Yeah, look, thanks, Danny, showing off the latest features that we've got available in Learnbook 3.9. One of the reasons why I wanted to jump in was just to sort of help people understand the upgrade process and reasons why you would want to upgrade. And of course, there's always getting a hold of the latest and greatest features, but also one of the reasons is that Moodle are constantly releasing new security patches for their platform. And so if we can keep our clients on the latest versions, then we know that they're covered. There's no security risks, and we know that we can always, take those fixes that Moodle are releasing and get them to our clients as quickly as possible. So when it comes to upgrading, we've got, I guess, a couple of things there to understand. A number of our clients are still on some very old versions of Moodle, back as far as 3.0. And for various reasons, they're quite comfortable with what they've got. But as I said, being able to upgrade and get the latest security patches is something that everybody really should be considering, especially in this day and age. So normally with clients who are on older versions, what we'll do is we'll arrange a time to set up a pilot site. So we'll take a copy of their production site, we'll set it up on a new server, we'll actually run through the upgrade process with them, and then they're able to actually go through their site and check out the new features, but also make sure that everything they previously had was still working the way it was. With newer versions, so we've got some clients who are on 3.7. It's a much simpler process. There's not that much of a difference between 3.7 and 3.9, so we can just go for a simple overnight upgrade and have your site available to you the next morning to check out. And what we do when we do those overnight upgrades is we always make sure we bring the site back online a few hours before start of business. And that just gives you, an hour or two to go through and do some final checks. Now, if you do your checks and you find, something's not right, we can just immediately roll back to your previous site. Nothing will have changed on your previous site as part of the upgrade. So we always make sure that we've got a backup copy of it. And if you need to, you can just immediately roll back and say, okay, let's go at it and set another time. And that's normally when we do say, okay, well, maybe we do need a pilot. Maybe there was something that was particularly unique to their site that required them to go through that process. Our other clients are clients like enterprise clients. We also try to keep our enterprise clients on the latest version of Learnbook. But of course, with enterprise clients, they've quite often got very large and complex change management processes they need to go through. So we're happy for them to reach out to us at any time via our service desk. And we can arrange that. We can schedule the changeover. We can fill in any of the change management documentation and then coordinate that with the organization. And likewise, with those larger clients with the more complex sites, there is quite often a more extended piloting process that needs to go through, especially if you've got things like integrations with systems like Learnbook or your HR system and stuff like that. It's often valuable just to be able to pilot those, make sure that everything's going to work with your external systems. And in those cases, it's really good if you've got a sandbox, for your HR. So if you've got like a copy of your HR system that you can use for testing and we can link it into the pilot, that all just adds value to making sure that at the end of that piloting phase, we're very, very confident that everything's going to be working and your upgrade is going to be happy. The other thing too about the upgrades is, of course, all the new features come out with the upgrade. So once you've done that upgrade, anybody who's currently on 3.7, if you do the upgrade to 3.9, or anybody who upgrades to 3.9 now, all of your upgrades in future will be automatic on the retail platform. And we review all of the security patches every week. So if there's something that comes out that's critical, it'll be within the platform within 7 days. Plus that, all new features get rolled out on a regular basis. So we're looking to every 2 weeks just roll new features in there just to continuously improve the platform, make the thing more powerful, improve your experience, improve your learner experience. So yeah, that's about it in a nutshell. So if you're interested in getting an upgrade, just fire a request through to support@ecreators.com.au and we'll schedule it in with the team and we'll get you on the road. Thanks for that. And I'll hand over to Dean now. Dean's going to tell us about some of the exciting stuff we've got coming up in the platform.
Yep, thanks, Trev, and thanks everybody else. I'm just sort of been watching the chat actually on my right-hand side here and seeing some of the stuff and the elation and joy which surrounds Copy Course. Pretty amazing, really, but probably a feature that everybody's been waiting on for quite some time. So some of the things that we've been speaking to a lot of our customers about recently are really in this list. So I'll try to get through them without sort of boring you too much, but these are forming some of the focus that we're going to have on the new product releases for this year. So the roadmap for 2021 is just being finalized and will be going public and be shared with you over next week, I understand, perhaps the week after at the very latest, with some of the things that we're working on. But as you probably know yourself, skills are one of those things that's sort of front of mind for everybody. So how we track skills, how we improve on our skills, how we upskill, how we cross-skill are things that are very, very important to organizations. So we're putting a bit of effort into that. So being able to obviously access skills via your own platform to be able to access skills-based training via other platforms as well too. So with the Open LMS group, we've obviously got thousands of organizations that use our products. So how can we interconnect those and allow them to share pieces of content? On content is another one. So you may have heard of a feature called the Content Store. So the Content Store will be taking a fair bit of precedence this year as well too, as we extend that sharing of content across the group. Another little one is obviously programs and compliance. So most of our customer base out there is using programs and compliance. So we're extending that functionality, making that functionality better, making it able to handle volume and reporting at scale as well too. So there has been a number of customers out there I know that have experienced troubles with speed in the programs and compliance functionality. We've already started on the improvements to that as well to get it nice and fast. And this mainly affects customers that have thousands or tens of thousands of users across the world. So a lot of effort going into that. User-generated content. So obviously we see it everywhere. You've got Facebook for user-generated content. You've got Instagram. You've got TikTok. You're doing all this sort of stuff. We felt that the LMS world was a little bit behind in that. One of our partners in our group and as a part of the service providers for the Open LMS group is a company called Instilled. Now, we did run a video session on Instilled. It must have been about 3 months back now. Where Instilled allows you to create your own video-based content. Works really, really well with Learnbook. So you can record video, you can cast video, you can do screen recordings, you can transcribe those videos that you do make automatically into multiple different languages and then embed them into your courses or have them as a separate sort of video YouTube library. So a lot of effort has gone into that plugin. If you do want a free trial, again, many of our customers have requested that and are actively using that now. Some added benefits to that is it's unlimited storage and unlimited bandwidth as well too. So we're always happy to have that. So if you do want a demo of that functionality, please either mention it in the chat or jump on our support desk as well. Obviously, mobility and usability are big ones. So I'll be speaking a little bit more about it in a second, but the mobile app has been refined. So we've published the new Open LMS app to the app stores, which is free to use. It's funny to actually see how many of our customers weren't using the mobile app. The mobile app's really good. You can download courses to it. You can complete courses. You can see course completions. You can do things like record audio, record video, take pictures, and all those elements can then be added to your courses. So if you're not using, excuse me, I'm going to show you a couple of QR codes shortly where you can hold your phone up and scan directly to the mobile app stores. That's available, of course, both on Android and the App Store and for both tablets and handheld mobile devices as well. Analytics and reporting. So a lot of customers have said to us, we really want to put some focus on analytics and reporting. And this has happened a lot in the K-12 space, the higher ed space, and indeed the corporate space as well too. So one of those things that people are asking for a lot of improvement on is student improvement. So how do we track a student perhaps who's getting a D for a certain piece of content or a grade for a certain piece of content? How do we make them an A? So how do we look at the experience they're having on the platform to determine what things that an A grade student is doing compared to a D grade student? How are they interacting with the content? Are they looking for information on forums? Are they logging on at a certain time of day or night? So what types of elements actually go into that success measure? So we'll be drilling into a lot of that in some of our core reporting analytics tools, along with our analytics providers such as Watershed. He's a new provider that some of you may not have heard of. We'll be having some info sessions about them soon, and obviously IntelliBoard as well too, who provide a lot of this stuff. Social interaction. So if you live in Victoria, this probably means a lot more to you at the moment, but obviously that social interaction that you have at work or school. Often it's something that happens sort of over here. It's very, very separate to your learning, but people learn better through their social interaction, being able to easily share video content or share informational links or to comment on people's requests and questions. So typically this lived outside the LMS. So what we're doing this year is bringing it inside. So we're bringing in this new feature or set of functionality which will allow you to have those conversations either at a site-wide level or a course-wide level. You can restrict all of those conversations too, whether or not you want people to like comments or to forward or share or save, entirely up to you. But it fundamentally gives you your own little mini social network inside work, which is all about work, which is great. There's no sort of mixing up with other things that might be distracting. Some of our clients here are using multi-tenancy as well too. So multi-tenancy at a very basic level is you have your master site up here. Let's think of that site like the landlord, and then all of that main site has all of these little tenants. So all of these little tenants, think of it from a member-based organization. So if I'm 7-Eleven, well, 7-Eleven headquarters is up here, and then all of my stores have their own little baby version of Learnbook, which is loaded up with their preloaded content, all of their sub-branding, their own reporting, and any of those other little bits and pieces that you want them to have, controlled by a central selection. So in the past, we've had multi-tenancy at scale, where we've had one big, huge Learnbook, so followed by a whole heap of separate little Learnbooks. In this new release, we're going to have it all under one umbrella. So what that means is you can split up your Learnbook database, your single database, into separate little instances that exist inside the same framework. That's also linked into another feature that we're pushing out called dynamic rules, where you can set really detailed rules through our personal learning designer, which is designed by our Open LMS team, which allows you to do a lot of sort of if-then type statements. So if learner hasn't completed a course by a certain date, send them this message. If learner hasn't logged on in 30 days, send them this message. So it allows you to create all of those rules to increase learner engagement, increase communication, those sorts of things. Also works really well with the mobile app. So instead of, I don't know how you are these days. For me, I know I wake up to at least 50, 60 emails every day. So you can also choose whether or not that's sent out by a text message or by a notification via the mobile app as well. So really similar to how you'd receive a Facebook notification on your phone, same sort of thing. We can send the messaging out that way. And lastly, on that list there as well, too, I've sort of covered off a little bit on Content Store and Workflow Engine, but integrations. So looking at the way that we handle integrations. In the past, a lot of those integrations have been custom integrations where we have one system talking to another system, and that needs to be heavily maintained every time something gets changed. So what we're looking at now is building an API for this year, which allows for more freer communication between those two systems. So it just means that if there's a major upgrade from Moodle or a major upgrade from Learnbook or a major upgrade from your plugin provider, it's much more easy to manage that. So any of you using VetTrack and those sorts of systems who've seen that in the past will be well aware of the fun it can be to get those two systems talking every time the software changes. We're eliminating a lot of those problems. So we're very happy to be bringing that to you as well, because it also helps eliminate a lot of the things in our support desk as well. Next slide. So again, we've been speaking a lot more with our customers right across the base. So we've been having a lot of private one-on-one sessions, sort of team-based sessions where we bring in our product message. So you've met, obviously, Trevor, who looks after our corporate products. There's Laura, obviously Laura as well. So Laura, who's based in Bogota, Colombia, who looks after our educational products. We're bringing these teams together to spend more time in front of our customers, talking about the things that they really want, obviously, like course copy, which is great. So some of the things that we've been speaking about over the past few weeks are these things here. And these things are items where we're putting a lot of our attention sort of to inside the Learnbook roadmap. So we're looking at, obviously, the upgrade to version 3.10. So we've just given you 3.9, but 3.10 will be coming fairly soon over the next couple of months. Remember, one of the great things about Learnbook as well, too, is your ability to turn features on or off. off. So there may be features which are completely pointless, not useful to your organization at all. You have the ability to disable those features, hide them in your left-hand menu, those sorts of things too. So it's important to give the right features to your learner audience, not necessarily all and sundry. It can confuse your learner base at the end of the day. Obviously, bug fixes and security patches are really, really important. Now, Moodle, obviously being open source by nature, does constant releases of bug fixes, of security patches. They don't always get it right. We don't always get it right either. Software is known to have bugs from time to time, but it's obviously a way of managing that process, which makes it more beneficial to our client base. So we're now putting on an extra 9 staff in Australia and over in the US as well, which will be in charge of managing that review and quality process. So we're really reducing any sort of technical debt that we have to our customers. So making sure that everything goes through that really sharp and intense QA cycle to make sure that the software it produces is the best software it can be. A range of other things. So character count was one. I was online with a university in Japan just the other day. Normally I'd be there, but obviously we're doing it like this these days. And that was for character count. So obviously there's an inbuilt word count rather for Learnbook. For character count, it's a little bit separate. So a Japanese character, for example, could be representative of a number of words. So it's a new piece of functionality requested from our clients in that region. A Canvas content migration has been another one too. So with the number of customers that we have at the moment migrating from Canvas to our products, to the Learnbook product, how do we make that process more seamless? So again, our friends at OpenLMS have software that does that, which we can easily adapt for all of our customers that are using Learnbook. Danny spoke before on H5P as well. I think there may have been a question from someone with regards to H5P. Can we share other objects and bits and pieces, documents, those sorts of things? The answer is yes, you will be able to soon, but that's it's a feature being developed by H5P themselves, which allows you to share all of that multimodal content. So be it H5P packages or documents or whichever, those things are coming. Access to skilled providers. So a lot of you may have heard of an organization called Go1. So Go1 are a Microsoft partner. Well, they're part owned by Microsoft. They have a plugin which allows you to access a whole heap of online learning content. There's 2 downsides to that. The first one is there's so much content, it's really hard to track what the best content is. And the second one is the way the plugin works at the moment makes it really hard to curate content or build programs which may be beneficial to you. So as again, a part of the roadmap that we've built for this year will allow us to do that. So from within the programs and compliance plugin and the skills matching plugin, which many of you are starting to use now, you're able to build up those groups of courses. You will be able to build up those groups of courses, which mean most to your learners. So an example of that might be an induction program. So every time you have a new starter in your organization, there'll be 5 or 6 regular courses they use from that library. Some of those courses are free. Some of those courses are lower cost. Some of those are at a higher cost. It really does vary depending on which collection of courses you do use. But again, making it more beneficial for that user base. Taking a big deep breath now, we'll get onto server side. So obviously software is really important, no doubt about it. But if there's a second more important thing or an equally more important thing, it's infrastructure. So making sure that you're on modern day, fast, reliable, sustainable infrastructure. So since the start of COVID, for example, we've seen a massive sort of 3-digit increase in the amount of infrastructure we're using. So obviously in our instance, we have very scalable infrastructure. So what that means is we have a whole heap of people on any one time that scales and scales and scales and gets bigger and bigger and bigger. But how can we create more efficiencies for server-side performance? We're working with our DevOps teams that have now expanded into Australia and the US. It's being managed as an internal project to help out with that too. So there's the software side where we're making all these wonderful improvements. and then obviously the other side as well too. So I want to talk to you or show you a couple of little bits and pieces that we are working on at the moment, so you can sort of see a bit of a view of what's coming. And those main things are a new user interface. So there's a number of clients that fall into 3 categories at eCreators. Many are using Learnbook, many are using our educational product, which is OpenLMS, and a small proportion are using just vanilla Moodle. What we're doing now, though, is unifying those products. So we're bringing all of those products together. We're putting a new, consistent user interface across the top. It's always been a bit of a problem, I guess, with all of the different types of plugins that Moodle create, that eCreators create, that third parties create and put onto the various communities, in that they can look different. And when they look different, your site can look a bit messy. It can also be a bad user experience, in that if we've developed a beautiful screen this way with an exit button here and a next button there and a my profile button there, and then suddenly you jump to another plugin or another piece of functionality, and that's all in a different place, it breaks the user experience. The old saying we always say here at eCreators, many of you probably know that too, is if you have to explain how to use an interface, it's not a good interface. You should be able to pick that device up or whichever and go and press your buttons and get that sort of usability success. So we're changing that. And it's going to look a little something like this. Now, these designs we're actually going to be sharing with you before we actually start the build, because we want your feedback. We don't want to go and create something and go, ta-da, then you go, yeah, I really hate it. That's not what we want at all too. So we need you involved in that process. So I'm just going to share my screen so I can show you some of the things that we are playing with. So bear with me while I do that. It's that one over there and share. Alrighty, so this is one of the designs that we're currently working with, but you'll notice everything's much cleaner. So obviously you'll still get to brand your entire site. Excuse me. You'll get to be able to still customize this menu, but all of the hide the little button there. All of the screens are now laid out in a really consistent design and point of view. Your courses are where you expect them to be. You can edit your profile exactly where you expect them to be. Customizing things is where you expect it to be. So we've followed new design standards and new consistent standards right across the site. So if you're using things like our organization charts, which are all drag and drop, they're much more colorful. They make much more logical sense the way the screens are lined out. It's going to make a really big difference in the way you use the site. If you're managing teams, it'll tell you what the user's role is, where they're located, what their progress is on completing various courses, those sorts of things. So really consistent all the way through the site, instead of having things that look different. And we'll be sharing these with you, as I mentioned, over the coming weeks as well. I mean, we really want your feedback, so please don't be shy to hold back and let us know what you think. The second part I mentioned was with regard to social. So having those social walls available to you that you can turn on or off, either at the site level or at the course level. So at the site level, you have that ability to post items, to post recommended courses for learners, to post images or embed videos, to be able to comment on those videos, to share across the site or share within your group, to tag users, and to like comments as well too. So to really have that sort of social experience in the flow of learning. So it might be that one of your learners is new to the company and says, hey, I'm here. Anybody know where I can get information on how to create a pivot table in the organization? So they can simply type out their message, post an image if they want to, and then other learners have the chance to respond. So a new way of learning collaboratively in the workplace. The second big thing we're working on, and both of these features are coming out in Q4 at this stage, is mentors. So within your organization, you can elect people, or people can volunteer to be mentors on certain topics inside your organization that they can book time with. So here I can see mentors that might be near me. Now at this stage, these are mentors that exist inside your organization, as I mentioned. In future releases, we're going to be allowing you access to external mentors as well too. So if we look on Albert Einstein here, for example, we can see what their specialties are. how other learners have rated the experience. You can see fees down here. These are going to be free initially and certainly moving forward as well. And then we can see this person's availability. So at any time I can book a slot with them and then have a live chat or have a video chat with them to talk about a certain topic. So you might book a 15-minute slot, a 30-minute slot, or a 1 hour slot. Those slots can also be via subscription as well too. So you're able to subscribe to those and meet on a regular basis or a casual basis. So a bit of a sneak peek into some of the thinking that's going on there. So they're the two I have at the moment to show you. And again, we'll be sharing more of these wonderful designs and features moving forward as well too. Now, I did mention before the mobile app. So we put up there on that screen. You can take a photo of it now or try and click into it now as well. But this will allow you to connect directly to both the app stores, obviously the iOS store and the Google Play Store, to be able to use that app. Now, in some instances, you will need functionality turned on, a little thing called web services at your LMS end. So if you were to discover that the app didn't work for you, all you need to do is put in a ticket and we'll get that functionality turned on your site. Really simple, really quick to do, and that will allow you to start immediately using the app. Now, the app isn't a whole new separate thing to your LMS. The app just views what's on your existing LMS in a really pretty little user interface. So if you haven't tried it out, give it a go. Obviously, you try it out first. Make sure you're comfortable with it. Make sure you're testing. If you need help, we've obviously got product experts like Danny in our team. They can help you with configuring that, Danny or a member of Danny's team. So please be encouraged to try out that new functionality. Again, the app is free. We have unlimited notifications you can use. You can download unlimited courses. And the next step up to that is what we call the branded mobile app. And that's where you're able to, if you want to, brand the app in your own colors, put your own logo on, and have that app uploaded to either the Apple Store or the Google Store or both. Now that is a paid service, and customer success or your account manager can talk to you more about that as well too. But if you happen to just happy to just use the OpenLMS branding, it's absolutely completely free. So cool little tool. Next slide from me. I think that's the end of the slide.
Sorry, Dean, I just want to jump in quickly and say brilliant, and we've got lots to look forward to. Can't wait. I just want to announce the next two winners. We have Driver Safety Oz and Kerry N. Congratulations, you both just scored a content ticket to Pause Fest. We'll be sure to reach out with you. We'll be sure to reach out to you after the webinar. And I've got told by the team that we're actually going to release another 3 more tickets, so a total of 8 tickets. So the next announcement, will be the last few. So thank you very much. I think we'll be moving now on to our Q&A segment. I'll just hop off and get everyone and we'll go through the questions.
Yeah, so we get the whole panel back, it'd be great. All right, so a chance to ask questions. I just want to sort of scroll through the existing chat to see any that have popped up there.
I have a question.
And have a look.
Start off with.
Everyone's obviously very excited by your efforts at the moment, Trevor and Danny. So that's great to see. Some comments there about the user interface. Yeah, so the user interface design is such a hard thing. There's an old saying. I read lots and lots of different books about functionality and design and those sorts of things. And one of the biggest things that you'll see that comes up consistently in all those is how hard simple is to do. Now, what do I mean by that? I mean, with a piece of software like ours that has so many features and so much functionality, you could put everything on site, but it'd just look an absolute mess. But what are the things that are the most valuable to both learners and administrators to put on that screen? And how can you make the navigation path easy and attractive to find for the masses, for when you're thinking about, millions of people are going to be using this thing? That's the hardest bit. It really, really is. So we now have on our UX team, there's about 4 or 5 people that look at our UI and UX on an ongoing basis, and indeed, the feedback we get from you guys too. So again, that's why we want to make you part of that process. So you have some say in the judgment of what it looks like. So I hope as many of you as you can, when we send out those notifications, can contribute. But yeah, I do agree. I really like the look of the new social wall and the mentors as well too. So if it had just my vote, which ultimately it does come down to my final vote, but yeah, I'd go with that. But we need some of that collective feedback out there. So thanks for that.
I think also, just if I can add to that, Dean, some of the things we're looking to do is bring in some analytics that actually look at how people are using the software. I think that's going to be really, really useful. Just in understanding what are the things people use most, what do they use least, and being able to just shorten some of those navigational pathways. Something Dean always says, it shouldn't take more than 3 clicks to get to where you want to get to. So we're actually going to find out exactly where people are going, what they're using the most, and then that's really going to allow us not only to make a good looking user interface, but actually have one that's structured in a way that's easy to use.
Yeah, exactly. And another sort of extension there with Ronnie's just most recent question on rename from mentors to consultants. Yes, we were going to do it as Jedi Masters to start with, but didn't pass the internal test. So yeah, but if you wanted to name them something else, you can absolutely do that. Yeah.
We have another question from Learn for Work. Does the app work for eCreators clients? And yes, it does.
Yep. So you can be using vanilla Moodle, you can be using Learnbook, you can be using obviously OpenLMS, or any of our enterprise style tools do have free access to the mobile app, and they can use it on their sites. One of the other things I probably touched on that I probably should have spent some more time on is additional Learnbook functionality. So at the moment, it really is just basic notifications, forum posts, course view, course download. We're extending some of the additional Learnbook core features into the app as well too. And again, there'll be features that you'll be able to turn on or off depending on what your needs are. So the app will become more valuable and more functional, probably until you get to a stage where you go, well, I probably don't even need my computer to do courses anymore. I'm doing everything via the app. So learners will have that choice at the very least.
Great. And we have another question. This one's about the Safe Exam Browser from Sana. What's the benefit of using the Safe Exam Browser? So the Safe Exam Browser is really a way to try and stop students from cheating while they're going and completing their quizzes, because it stops them from being able to access other areas of the Moodle site or other websites when you want them to be concentrating on the quiz and getting through that quiz activity and it testing their knowledge as opposed to how well they can Google.
Yeah. Cheats never prosper, as they say. So this is a piece of functionality that prevents that as best we can. It makes it much, much harder for students to be able to cheat. We've got a good sort of view on what they're doing as far as interaction with the learning modules and activities and those sorts of things go. So we can really lock it down.
Yep.
Okay. I'll probably hand that question to you, Trevor, about backups and local backups.
Yeah, so there is, of course, the feature to configure your own backups, and it was something we found we had to disable it because what tended to happen was we ended up with a very small window of time where everybody on the platform was trying to back up their sites. So you'll get like 400 people all within a 2-hour window trying to back up their stuff, and it just became very difficult to manage. What we do is we do nightly backups, and we retain those backups for 30 days. And some of the features that we're looking at rolling out in the future are going to allow people to actually go in and restore their backup. Whoa, excuse me, waving my arms around too much. Restore their own backups into a copy of their site, just to make it quicker and easier for people to get back to things. Because quite often what we find is people need to go back to a backup because they've deleted a course. So quite often they just need to get that course restored into a new site and get it back into the platform. We're looking at ways that we can actually make that something that people can do for themselves. So stay tuned. But yeah, with the backups, nightly backups is the best that we can do. Otherwise, people end up just knocking the whole platform over by trying to do their own backups themselves.
Yep.
Cool.
So
you can probably do this one.
me.
This is how do we check the Moodle and Learnbook versions?
Yep, absolutely. So we track all of your versions at our end ourselves. So at the moment with the new upgrade, I think we've had a rollout of how many users so far, Trevor?
We did 150 odd sites were upgraded with the last upgrade to 3.9. Yep. So normally what you can do is you can just go into your site administrator, go to notifications, and you'll find in all the information on the notification page, it'll tell you what Moodle version you're on. You can let us know, and that sort of gives us a good start point, or we can very quickly just jump in and check for ourselves.
Yep. So we run reports at our end with that data. Where is the place where you check your current version, Danny? I can't think of site admin.
Site administration, and then the very first link at the top of that page is notifications, and that will tell you which Moodle version you're on.
Yeah, then from there we can determine how you're upgraded. So Trevor sort of touched on it a bit earlier before. If you're using an older version of Moodle, which we don't have a great deal of these days, so if you're using something like 3.2, the upgrade process is a little lengthier because you can't sort of jump straight from 3.2 to 3.9. It's not the way the framework works. So we'd have to actually manually upgrade you 3 or 4 versions to get you there. But in saying that, the rollout is rolling out to all of our existing clients right across the base, with the exception of some of those older ones, which we'll be getting in contact with, and obviously enterprise clients. So if you're an enterprise client using our large infrastructure, large software base, that will be a conversation that we'll need to have with yourself and your technical teams to get you on a roadmap to that new update.
Another one.
Yeah. So yeah, I did touch on that before, and yeah, definitely, I'd love to see that as the standard user interface. So maybe I'm just going to have to go back and shake some UX design team guys for a little bit more and see how much of that we can squeeze into the new update. But no, thank you. It's great feedback. Yeah, I'm a big fan of that update too. So yeah. Yep. So we exactly. Yeah. So there are 2 versions at the moment. We had a number of customers who are using the older version. So we're more or less running those in parallel, and then we'll remove the older version. Now they work in very much the same way. It probably comes back to that question we had about sites. If you're using an older version of Moodle, then you can only use the older version of the app. So if you're an eCreators customer, you're on the new version. So the only difference is a hyphen in between open and LMS. So open minus LMS, which will take you to the latest version, which we encourage you to use. And those 2 QR codes will also link you directly to that app. But the only reason we have the 2 there at the moment is to account for the number of organizations we have out there using older versions of Open LMS. So not so much older versions of Learnbook, but of the educational product.
Yeah, the next e-commerce, we've had a lot of people inquiring about various discount models and ways that discounts can be purchased and applied. So we're going to be taking a lot of that feedback that we've gotten directly from our customers and applying that in the next build of e-commerce. One other feature that we're looking at, and it was very interesting because it came out of the K-12 educational sector, but we also had a client in the commercial sector who wanted a feature where they can come in and pre-purchase either a block of courses, or they can basically just put up to X amount of dollar value of courses, and then have people from their organization log in using what we would call a child account to then go and enroll themselves into those courses. So it's a great feature. It'll actually work for mum and dad who are doing homeschooling, where they want to go and purchase courses and allocate them to the kids, but also work for large corporates where they want to buy blocks of training and enroll their staff into it. So there's some of the major features. We got a few other sneaky things, but I want to keep them up my sleeve as a bit of a surprise.
Yeah, you're always going to have some surprises. Yep. So thank you for that, Kane. It's been the flavour of the month, that question. So I'm pleased to say, as of last Friday, yes, notifications will both work cross-platform. So there were some difficulties getting that to work across both platforms over the past couple of weeks. Our team has now rectified that, and notifications will go out to both platforms, both iOS and Android. Obviously, encouraging feedback there as well too. So we'll be sending out obviously some of those UI mock-ups to you over the next couple of weeks in our normal news releases from marketing. There's also one little place I'd love to encourage you to go. I can't access the chat myself for some reason. So, but that is our Open LMS community. So that's community.openlms.net. And it's from there. There it is on screen. Thank you very much, marketing team, and very, very quick to pick that up too. So on that community, it is a place where we're getting more and more followers of what we're doing. So new product releases, plugin questions, peer-to-peer community questions, videos, all that sort of stuff. So save it in your bookmarks. You know, there's some good, valuable stuff that you can get out of that community. We obviously try to be as responsive as we can on that community as well too, for any questions that you might have. But obviously the more people you get in the community, the more we can sort of help each other as well too. So please pop along, take a look around, because we'll be spending more and more effort on that community in the coming months, weeks, years. Yeah, so the new one there is open-LMS, open-LMS, or the QR code that Shay had shared earlier on the slides. But yeah, open-LMS.
Hey guys, I'm just going to jump in now and announce the last winners for our ticket giveaway to Pause Fest. So congratulations to Ride High Graphic, Karen Gill, Benjamin B. Brown, Sana, and a special added on, Smith Henry. Congratulations, you guys. You just scored yourself a content ticket, and we hope you enjoy the Pause Fest. Our team is feeling very generous today, and please make sure to leave your first name and company name so we can get in touch with you after the webinar with your ticket. Now, I think the team will now be wrapping up the webinar.
Just a quick one there from Ride High Graphic. I saw that one come in just at the 11th hour. The answer to that will be yes. So it can be as their home or the main dash or on the course level as well. Thank you for that question. I'm really excited about that feature. So yeah, you'll always get an encouraging result from me. Thanks so much for your time today, guys. And we look forward to continuing the conversation in the community. Again, you'll be able to see in that community all the latest things we're working on right across our product portfolio as well too. So thanks so much for coming along today and enjoy the rest.